If you're new to prepping, what are you prepping for? And if you've been prepping for a long time, are some of your goals changing, like throughout the course of just this past year alone? Me too. So in this video, we're talking about 5 things that a lot of people are just starting to prep for now. Stay with me. What's up, warriors? This is Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training, here to share with you some warrior skills and drills that anyone can learn and everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and thanks for stopping by. If you already follow us on social media and that's how you found your way over to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button and the little thing where it says all notifications, so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops, and you get all sorts of cool content from here as well. Alright, so check it out. I just came back from my family vacation. We went down to Florida, took the kids and my wife and kids down to see Disney. It's not our first trip and hopefully it won't be our last. But while we were down there, we took a lot of Ubers everywhere. And I love talking to like taxi drivers, Uber drivers, bartenders, and just people that like see a lot of people and talk to a lot of people. And I don't know, I just like making new friends, and I don't know. I call it peeling the onion. You start to talk to somebody and you get to know them a little bit better, even if it's for a brief moment. And while we were down there, we talked to we were taking Uber everywhere. I talked to every single Uber driver, which would be at least, there had to be at least 20 or 30 of them. And somehow, every single driver I talked to, I'm always like, hey, how do you like being an Uber driver? Why do you do Uber? Especially down in Florida, a lot of them were like, you could tell they had a really thick accent. They were from somewhere else. Like, where are you from? And a lot of the conversations were like, oh, I came to America for the opportunity. Or, I'm from a crazy country. Or I left some sort of crazy situation to come here. I don't mind working around the clock. It's the opportunity. And somehow, also in that same conversation, it always came back to like a lot of them were doing Uber as their main job, and a lot of them were doing it to supplement their income from their regular job, either because, things are slow, they've slowed down a lot in the last year or so, or they realized over the last year or so that how fragile their income or their money-making ability could be, so they're trying to work extra to save up some money. And I'm like, wow, it sounds like they're prepping, like they're preparing for something. So of course I'm a prepper, man, so I'm like, hey, what do you think is going to happen? And some of the answers were pretty crazy. A lot of them were very similar, though. And then, even though I promised my wife that I wouldn't spend any time working, because I'm always working, and that was all about family, I couldn't help it, man. I belong to a bunch of groups on social media and a lot of pages that I like to follow, and I was kind of asking people like, hey, maybe I'm a little bit out of touch. What are you preparing for, especially new preppers? So, a lot of the people, a lot of our new subscribers to the channel are here for the prepping stuff. They're like, I don't understand why this guy's into survival stuff, or I don't care about the gun stuff, or I'm not into martial arts, but I just want to give me more on the prepping side. And the more you get into prepping and the more you dive deeper into prepping and the more you and your family are getting prepared, you'll start to understand more and more about the survival side, more and more about the self-defense and home defense side. And if wherever you're from on the globe, if firearms is an opportunity or an option for you to defend your family and your home, hopefully that stuff will come in a little bit handy for you as well. So on the social media that I was putting the feelers out to see hey, what's the vibe right now? Because beginning of 2021, it was like the United States changing cabinets and a new president and all this stuff. And of course, there's always going to be people freaking out about that stuff. And ultimately, I think as Americans, we kind of land on our feet. But there's a lot of stuff going on globally, and a lot of our subscribers are from all over the world. And a lot of those fears or concerns are the same no matter where you are on the globe. But I got a list. You ready for this? So the 5 things that it sounds like people are freaking out about right now. Usually when people tell me what they are preparing for or what they are worried about or what they're concerned about, it's kind of my job to say, well, let's not freak out. Let's not panic. Let's just think how do we create a plan so that we can be ready for those things? And some of those things are pretty challenging stuff, and I can't argue with it because I feel the same way. All right, so I put up a couple of surveys out there on some groups I'm in, and it was pretty, I don't know if scary is the word. It was definitely eye-opening even for me, because I know the stuff that I prep for and most people prep for, but here's a whole new generation of preppers that are coming in just now and trying to get started just now, and these are some of the things that they're worried about that maybe you and I should be worried about too. So the first thing was long-term unemployment. I think right now people are kind of like, a lot of jobs are changing their requirements, not even just for new hires, but for like, hey, you work here, but if you want to keep working here, you got to do A, B, C, and D. And not everybody is on board with doing those things, and that's a very challenging thing. So like, that's a tough spot to be in. Like, do I change my values, or do I like go against my values, or like, is that going against my freedom? Like, hey, but I already have a job here. What do you mean you're going to fire me if I don't do this list of things? A lot of private companies and a lot of like government organizations will say, well, hold on, if you want to work here, you have to abide by these rules. We know you weren't hired by those, but those are the rules now. And if you want to stay, cool, you got to do these things. And if you don't want to do these things, well, we understand we have 100 other people that'll fill your spot. That's a concern. And how do you argue with that? And I'm like, I don't even know how I feel about that. I'm American first and foremost, and I feel like you should have the freedom to do or not do, or think of all the people that had a job 2 years ago that all of a sudden their job just vanished, or like they had a career and the career dried up, or like they had a family-run business that all of a sudden like it just got shut down over the course of the last year and a half because of lockdowns and all these other things. And trying to start that from scratch, I own more than one business, and the thought of trying to start any one of them from scratch is like, I don't know if I have the energy or the patience or the desire to do that all over again. The energy most of all. So if your concern is long-term unemployment, I am big on, if you need a job, there's always a job out there. It may not be like the job you want. It may not be your dream job. It may not be the dream money. But right now, I know that pretty much I'm in suburban Long Island, right outside of the 5 boroughs of New York City. And everywhere I go, I see help wanted signs. Like, again, is that job going to want you to do certain things that go against your beliefs? I don't know. But I think that there's a lot of people out there hiring right now, and maybe it's a good time to like learn a new trade or learn a new craft, or like you got to look at it with a positive like point of view, a positive mindset like that. There's got to be a way. Like, there's got to be a way. So maybe if you haven't had a job for a while and your unemployment is running out, or you got mouths that are depending on you, maybe that long-term unemployment is in the career that you want to have or like to have or think you have, whereas now maybe it's time to start examining like other opportunities where you could learn. Maybe you won't make as much money, but if you could learn a new craft, a new trade, a new job, a new thing, where maybe that's your stepping stone to go to the next thing. So is that the answer for everybody? Of course not. If your concern is long-term unemployment, I'm in a career that's not even around anymore. That's a very frustrating thing, but maybe there's some other way that you could like kind of take that turn of events, that course of events, and use it to your benefit. You can't give up, right? Like, that's not an option. We have to figure a way to like, hey, it's going to suck for a while, but I'm tough, I'm a warrior, I can make it through somehow. So the next one on the list was economic instability or some sort of crash coming. I mean, I have no crystal ball. I know that we're coming off of like almost 2 years of trying to like keep an economy going, not just like in the United States, but worldwide, right? And they've been trying to like print money and make extra money and kind of like infuse the economy to kind of get everything back on its feet. But already we're starting to see like the prices of a lot of stuff like go way up because, hey, somewhere along the way, there's no such thing as free money. You can't just print it and make it work. I'm no economist. I used to be a social studies teacher, so I get a little bit of it. But I just know that if you had like a Babe Ruth rookie card or whatever the most expensive like baseball card on the planet is, and all of a sudden somebody started printing up exact duplicates, like, man, you can't tell the difference between that one and the real McCoy. Well, what happens to the value of that real one? And of course, it's going to go down. So if there's only so many dollars on the planet and you're going to keep printing more, what does it do to the value of the ones that are already out there? I get that part. What can we do to like prepare against that? I don't know. If you know, I'm all ears, man, because it is a concern. You know, some people say, well, buy gold or buy silver or buy precious metals or buy tomorrow's groceries today, or buy tomorrow's gasoline today if you have a safe place to store it. A lot of people talking about like cryptocurrencies, which I don't know anything about. I know that it's not tangible. I wish I knew more about it, because I know some people that are like all in on that, and that's kind of scary too, because how do you know that's not just going to vanish? Again, I don't know enough about it to give you advice on it, but if you do, I'm curious. And if you know somebody that knows more about it, go get an education on it before you just go dump a bunch of money into it. But again, if you're concerned about some sort of like economic like instability, I would try to keep my debt down and save as much as I could and buy as much necessities as I know that we use, so that I have it in stock, so that if price went on everything went crazy, well, I have enough stuff to get us by for a while. Which is the next concern, which was hyperinflation. So not just economic instability, but like I've been talking to a few people who do know a lot about money, and they sound like, when you hear like an expert concerned, that's pretty alarming. I know that money people that I look to for advice, not just on like investing and stuff, but like buying assets versus owning liabilities, income versus debt. And when those people are nervous, that they're like, I think in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you're not going to recognize the price of anything. Not a loaf of bread, not a gallon of milk, not a gallon of gas. And that's scary. What can I do to that? What can I do to like prepare for that? I don't know. Again, I try to keep my debt as low as I can and save as much as I can and stock up on the things that I know that we need in the house. Which leads us to the next thing on the list, which a lot of people are concerned about: food shortages. Now, of all the things that you like, of all the things on the list that you have control versus don't have control, I know that as of today, there are like huge ships with tons of containers just like sitting off the shores of the United States. Why they're not coming in, I don't know. Why they're like, the truck drivers aren't just picking up that stuff and delivering it, I don't know. But I know that when I go to the stores, I see an awful lot of like empty shelves, which I think is like very alarming. I saw recently they had these like curtains covering shelves, and the curtains make it look like there's food on there. So I guess maybe so that if people take pictures, I don't know the purpose of that. If you know the purpose of that, let me know. But they had like roll down curtains covering empty shelves, and the curtains had pictures of food on it. So it looked like the shelves were full, but they were just curtains. That, I don't know what that's about, but that was like, that made me feel like some like Walking Dead stuff going on, or like post-apocalyptic, I don't know, man. But again, that's something you could control now, or that's something that you could like prepare for now. I can't change the economy. I can't change inflation. I can't change any of that stuff. I can prepare to keep my family and like my house and my family prepared. So I am like double timing it, triple timing it on basic food preps. Things that are like, think back to the Great Depression, man. What did they get by on? Rice, beans, pasta, canned goods. Man, think of your food groups. Just think of like proteins. What stuff can you get in cans that's going to last on a shelf for a long, long time? Like things like tuna, canned spam, canned, chicken, anything in a can. Anything in a can, anything in a can. So I try to get my proteins, my veggies, even my carbs. So I have like, again, is it enough? I don't know. But I keep shopping on sale. I keep shopping, like, not just sale at the regular shops, but like Target, Walmart, the places where things are already typically a little bit cheap. Find it on sale there and buy as much as you can afford. Now, I did a video a few weeks back, and it caught a little bit of friction from some of my like really like gung-ho subscribers, and they brought up some very valuable points. I said, I don't think you should go into credit card debt prepping. And some of them, who maybe they know more than I do, and they're like, dude, if you're not prepped now, like, you're way behind. And I agree with that. And some of them said that, hey, there's some very like low interest cards that maybe if you could get some sort of, again, you do your homework on how you're going to, like, if you're going to go into debt, go into smart debt. Don't go into like debt on a credit card. You're going to owe 15, 20, 30% on some of these cards or some of these loans. But if you could do it at very, very, very low interest, and basically you're just borrowing money to like build your preps right now, that's not a bad idea, so long as you got a means of paying it back and you're not going to fall into some sort of like financial trap later on. That's my 2 cents. The food and like shelf-stable milk, cereal, things that will sit on the shelf for a very, very long time is the stuff that, in my opinion, you should be stocking up on. I am. Anytime I see a sale on toilet paper, paper towels, things that you know that you use all the time, get extra. Get extra. Like, but we already have extra. Get a little bit more. You have like a good sale on it, a good price on it, like a good, see a deal, jump on it. And the last thing, which typically this one is way up on the list, and now it seems like it's falling behind a lot of the others. And that was like weather and natural disasters. So like last year in Texas, where it's always hot, man, they had a snowstorm and like a deep freeze that lasted a week and like put people like way, way, way in a bad way. And again, things like that are wake-up calls for a lot of people. And if it's not a wake-up call for you, like, what are you waiting for? Like, what if that happened again? You're like, oh, why didn't I get a generator the last time? Why didn't I get blankets? I know we don't need jackets, but we did need jackets that one time, or extra blankets, whatever it is. For like weather, like the most common thing is going to be some sort of blackout. So whether you live in a hot climate and you never get cold, or you live in like a an in-between climate where you have winter and summer, and you get hurricanes and you get blizzards and you get earthquakes or wildfires or whatever it is, wherever you are, think of the things that are most common for your region. Think of the things that are possible for your region, and think of the things that are most common that come with those bad events. So like Long Island, New York, like right outside of the city, I know that if we get a blizzard, it could knock the power out. If we get a hurricane, it could knock the power out. If we get a heat wave, it could knock the power out. So I have a blackout kit. And that is like the thing that covers most of my issues. I have different methods of heating my house because we had such a deep freeze once that my home heating oil tank froze. Not the whole thing, but there's condensation in there, and the part where it pulls the oil out, there was water, and that froze, so we couldn't pull oil out, and it was cold in my house, man, and I got little kids. So I have electric options that I could heat a room or two and keep us like comfortable. I have kerosene heaters that I don't have the kerosene heater. I have like a bunch of kerosene too, because it'll only last so long, and the more prepared you are, the longer those preps will last. If I have a kerosene heater with no kerosene, no good. Kerosene heater with enough kerosene for one day and the freeze lasts longer than that, or the heat is out longer than that, no good. You got to learn how to conserve your stuff as well. Conserve your preps, conserve your food, conserve your fuel, all your resources. Learn how to manage those, and there's a dozen videos just on that. Whatever you're prepping for, if it's one of these things, let me know. If you've got some good advice, not just for me, but for all the other subscribers, one of my favorite things about this channel is how you guys all help each other and keep it positive and polite and respectful, and it's a school, man, and everybody gets to raise their hand and say their say. So please, if there's something that I missed, I went with the 5 things that I saw the most of and all the things that I've surveyed and all the people I've talked to just in the last week. If you've got a concern on something that I missed, please let me know. And if you've got some like input on ways to prepare for any one of these things or anything else that somebody else might write down, man, please put in your 2 cents. I want you to be able to come to this channel as your resource, and a resource that you could send to other people too, because it's not too late to start prepping, but it seems like you need to start prepping. If you haven't already, it's something that you should definitely get on, and look out for your immediate family first, then the next level of the next ring, and the next ring, and the next ring, and just try to get everybody on the same page, man. Just whatever happens, you want to be prepared for it as best that you can. Don't let it freak you out. Don't let it get you scared. Don't let it make you start panicking, but be ready. Well, if you made it this far and you like what I'm teaching and preaching, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and like this video. If you're loving it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you gotta have it, make sure you hit the bell notification button and a little thing where it says all notifications, so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. If you're really digging it and you want more, you can find me on all social media platforms at 5 Elements Tactical. That's all I got for now, warriors. So until our paths cross again, pray for the best, prepare for the rest. I'm Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training. Thanks for watching.